All right, welcome everyone to the Judiciary Committee's decision-making only agenda at 10 o'clock on this Thursday morning, the 26th of February. First on the agenda is SB 2006. This clarifies that a farm dwelling permitted in an agricultural district includes a single-family farm dwelling with an accessory employee housing structure subject to certain restrictions. Recommendation is to pass it just with a bad date, March 22, 2075. I'd like to put in the committee language that the committee report language suggesting the next committee consider requiring all farm dwellings and all farm employee housing be subject to and comply with all county laws, rules, regulations, land use, ordinance, zoning, and permitting, including but not limited to conditional use permits, but that will just be in the committee report. Questions or concerns? If not, Senator Gabbard.
On SB 2006 SD1, the recommendation is to pass with amendments. Chair Rhodes.
Aye.
Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Chang. Aye. Senator San Buenaventura. Excused. Senator Roy.
Aye.
Measures adopted.
Thank you. Next up is SB 2009. This requires new number plates and tags or emblems for used motor vehicles transferred between private individuals. Recommendation here is to go ahead and move it along. So we'd like to accept two amendments offered by Senator Hawai'i. I'm not sure I'm reading this right. This would amend the language of Section 4 that requires the County Director of Finance to immediately notify all applicable state and local agencies of the transfer through a centralized notification system by deleting immediately. So there's an unspecified time period. And Section 5 will delay the date by which each County Director of Finance is to establish a centralized notification system by 1 year. So the system shall be required by July 1, 2028. And then we'll insert the amount of the penalty for failing to comply with the plate, tag, emblem removal, and registration requirement in Section 2 to make the penalty consistent with HRS Section 28652, subsection J, that fines a person $100 for failure to give notice of the transfer to the County Director of Finance. And then the law requiring adherence to a specific procedure when the vehicle title or interest is transferred, which is $100 for failure to comply. And we'll make the bill effective upon effective upon March 22, 2075.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's it. Questions or concerns?
Yeah, concerns.
Concern or what?
I didn't see support for this one. Was there testimonies in support?
I don't know. It was pretty thin, as I recall. No. It's a bad day moving it forward. And, yeah.
The concern, aside from that, because I was just seeing if we could just, get it killed right here, but it doesn't seem feasible to me. I don't know. I understand it, but it doesn't see why would we do it. Like if you sell a car, think about all of the plates that we have to. You're in for the environment. You got to recreate many plates, and it just seems like a little backwards with resources.
It's the advantage is clarity of who owns it and who is assigned which number, and so that's why I believe they want to do it. But
okay,
yeah,
thanks.
Other concerns or questions? If not, Senator Gabbard.
On SB 2009 SD1, Chair's recommendations have passed with amendments. The members present, are there any no votes or reservations?
No.
No vote for Senator Roy. The measure is adopted.
Okay, thank you. Next up is SB 2010. This authorizes the impoundment of motor vehicles when certain traffic violations have been alleged or committed. Recommendation here is pass with technical amendments and put a defective date on it, March 22, 2075. So text and a bad date. Questions or concerns? If not, Senator Gabbard.
SB 2010 SD1, recommendations to pass with amendments. Are there any no votes or reservations?
No.
Senator Bois, Senator Sampson, excused, measures adopted.
Thank you. I did want to note on that one too, that we would like to put in some committee language highlighting some legal concerns we have about valid public safety concern and owner's rights if different than the driver. But if you want to revote because of that difference, I'm happy to do it, but I don't think we need to. Okay. Let's see. Okay, next up is SB 2026 requires drivers of vehicles approaching stationary motor vehicles stopped in any location on the roadway, shoulder, or roadside to slow down and make a lane change if necessary. Recommendation on 2026 is to pass with just a defective date, March 22, 2075. And we'll note concerns in the committee report about the definition of complete stop and about whether the new law would apply if the stop vehicle is flashing hazard lights or just sitting there with the lights off. Questions or concerns? If not, Senator Gabbard.
On SB 2026 SD1, recommendations to pass with amendments. Are there any no votes or reservations? Hearing none, the measure is adopted.
Thank you. Next up is SB 2046. This requires an owner or operator of an underground storage tank or tank system with a confirmed release to meet certain standards for the restoration of the environment. Recommendation here is to pass with a bad date, March 22, 2075. Questions or concerns? If not, Senator Gabbard.
On SB 2046 SD1, recommendations to pass with amendments. With all members present, are there any no votes or reservations? Hearing none, the measure is adopted.
Thank you. Next up is SB 2054. Yes, you did note that. Okay. 2054 prohibits the Hawai'i National Guard from deploying to assist federal troops, federal law enforcement, or the National Guard of any other state operating in Hawaii when the governor is objected to the deployment. Recommendation here is to pass with some amendments. Do have prior concurrence. I'd like to define the form and process for governor's objection, i.e. So it would have to be written. So for purposes of this section, the governor's objection shall be made by a written determination signed by the governor. The written determination shall identify the specific deployment, request, operation, or activity to which the objection applies, state the factual basis for the objection, specify the geographic scope of the objection, and specify the effective date and time and the duration of the objection. Governor shall provide notice of the objection to the Adjutant General, Director of Emergency Management, and the Attorney General, which will cause the objection to be maintained as a public record except for portions that are confidential under state or federal law. We do have prior concurrence from both previous chairs. And I believe it has, yes, it has a bad date already. I'd also like to put in the committee report some language acknowledging Brigadier General Ross's concerns. He was opposed to the bill and agreed that we have reached a place in the history of the country where the military, including the Hawai'i National Guard, is likely going to be put in difficult legal positions where individuals are going to have to decide whether the orders they are receiving are legal and whether they're willing to refuse them if in their own consciences they believe they should. So I understand the tension this bill, the legal tension this bill may cause, but I think that's where we're at. So that's my recommendation. Questions or concerns? If not, Senator Gabbard.
On SB 2054 SD1, chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments. Are there any no votes or reservations?
No.
No vote for Senator Owa. The measure is adopted.
Okay, thank you. Next up is SB 2057. This prohibits law enforcement officers from using any personnel or funds originating in the state to assist or facilitate conduct by federal immigration agencies that exceeds their law enforcement duty or authority. Prohibits law enforcement officers from assisting or cooperating with or allowing resources to be used to facilitate federal immigration agents engage in operations that target individuals or entities for activities protected by the First Amendment of the United States or immigration enforcement operations unless provided by law. This does have a bad date. I would like to put in the committee report that the committee believes that we should define the following terms by reference or a new definition: law enforcement officer, federal immigration agents, at or near, assist, facilitate, and exceeds their law enforcement duty or authority. And I would also like to signal to the next committee that we'd like to address constitutional concerns by scrubbing language that might be interpreted as obstructing. Emphasis will be on doing local law enforcement jobs while assisting federal agencies where required by federal law. We'd also like to enumerate the First Amendment activity local and state law enforcement are tasked with protecting, i.e. nonviolent protests, recording of LE activity unless physically interfering with authorized law enforcement activity, speaking to law enforcement officers, even if in impolite terms. So that's all going in the committee report. I have not been able to get prior concurrence in time for this hearing. So that will be my suggestion going forward to the next committee. Questions or concerns? If not, Senator Gabbard.
On SB 2057, ST1, recommendations to pass with amendments. Are there any no votes or reservations? Hearing none, the measure is adopted.
Actually, I think that was no amendments, just a report.
Oh,
I'm sorry. So that
yeah. Sorry about that.
it was understandable confusion.
Correct.
Okay, moving on to SB 2078. This clarifies that rules adopted by the Department of Land and Natural Resources pursuant to Section 190-3 may regulate aquarium fish permits, establishes a criminal penalty and monetary fines for aquarium fishing violations. Recommendation here is to go ahead and pass it as is. Questions or concerns? If not, Senator Gabbard.
Recommendation on SB 2078 ST1 is to pass as is. Are there any no votes or reservations?
No.
No vote for Senator Law. And the measure is adopted.
Thank you. Next up is SB 2145. This establishes the right of a person to record law enforcement activities, establishes private right of action for any violation of the right to record law enforcement activities, as long as the recorder does, there's exceptions. You can't interfere with the police operation, for example. Recommendation here is to pass as is. Questions or concerns? If not, Senator Gabbard.
On SB 2145, recommendations to pass as is. Are there any no votes or reservations? Hearing none, the measure is adopted.
Thank you. Next up is SB 2448. This enacts the Uniform Civil Remedies for Unauthorized Disclosure of Intimate Images Act. Recommendation here is to pass with amendments, the technical amendments suggested by Elizabeth Kent. I would also note that it has a effective date of 1/1/2077. I'm not sure this bill is ready for prime time, so we'll leave the bad date on it. Questions or concerns? If not, Senator Gabbard.
SB 2448 ST1, recommendations to pass with amendments. Are there any no votes or reservations? Hearing none, the measure is adopted.
Okay, I think that's it. Yeah. All right, members, thanks for being here. Tomorrow's one of the big ones. 30 bills on the agenda.
30.
See you tomorrow.